Welcome back, everyone, to Lisa's Love and Light. How is everyone doing this Monday afternoon? I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for being here again today. As I said yesterday, I was coming back on today. Thank you all, before we get started, for your support. Thank you for watching this channel. I've been receiving a lot of comments that the information that's being shared here is helping others. And thank you so much, because that's what I want this channel to be about, helping other people. So thank you for sharing, subscribing, because other people are now getting the message. So, what I want to talk about before I get into the topic today, which is the topic of discussion, will be that healing grief can be uncomfortable. But before I get into that message, I wanted to share something which I actually wanted to share yesterday, but the video was getting to be very long, so I'm going to share it today. For those who watch this, I want to tell you to be careful of scammers, because they're using different techniques to try to get you in, to lure you in, so that they can gather your personal information. And I'm going to explain some of the ways that they're doing that. I've been getting these weird text messages on my phone that says no subject. And then when you click on it, there's a link inside of it. Do not click on it at all, because it can put a virus in your phone, and it can steal your personal information. And, you know, it's better to just delete it. I also had an experience a few weeks ago where I was in my emails and I received an email from Best Buy stating that I had purchased some electronic equipment, which I don't buy anything from Best Buy, rarely, maybe once a year or so. Surely not electronic equipment. And there was this huge purchase there, asking me to call this 1855 number, whatever it was. So instead of doing that, because the whole email, the content within seemed weird to me, just the wording and etc. So what I did is Google Best Buy in this area, and I called them up, and I told them about the email. They asked me to read the numbers that are there, because within that email it had like a ID number or purchase number, etc. And as soon as I started reading that off, they said that that's a scam. It doesn't belong to us. So if you get any emails like that, never call the number that's listed within that email, because that telephone number is probably um, associated with the scam that they're trying to do. So always find a number for whatever whatever business that they say they are from, and call the business to verify. And so once I found out it was a scam, I asked them if they had a department that deal with this kind of situation. So they gave me an email address to send it to. They have a specific fraud department that handles that, because I got two of those emails and I just forwarded over to the information they gave me. So please be careful, because the scammers are out here. Be leery also where take your money out of an ATM, etc. Because the fraud is on a rise today, and we have to be careful. And also, if you get some emails saying that you won money, or call us up. Not only that, IRS scams and all these things, be leery, and just Google the IRS number and call them, and reference the email with whatever information that was sent to you. And in reference to text messages, if you're not familiar with the text, don't open it, because it could put a virus in your phone, or they can steal your information. I also was getting phone calls from weird numbers. And what I do, if it's not something that I recognize, I let it go to voicemail, because if it's something important and I don't recognize the number, then the person who's calling will leave a message. Otherwise, to me, it's not important because I don't deal with people who don't leave messages, etc. All of these things are part of a scam. So please beware. And if your intuition, makes you feel leery about the information that you receive, never, never, give your personal information at all. Just contact the place that they are saying they're from, so that you can verify. And then, it's always safe. It's always good to be cautious because, like I said, they can steal your information. So please beware and be careful. Now we're going to get into this topic of discussion. Healing grief can be uncomfortable. It's not easy. Your body and your physical and your mental health is now can be out of whack because of the loss, and it's never easy. And I talk about it all the time because it's important that, we take care of our physical and mental health. It's so important to do that. Otherwise, we can't take care of ourselves. So, yesterday, when I did my prior video, I talked about people coming into your life. People may come into your life for a season or for a lifetime. And basically, when people come into your life for a season, most of the time it's to teach us a lesson that we probably haven't learned. And then when that lesson is learned, then that person is no longer in our life. I'm starting to realize the truth behind that. That is so true. And, sometimes people are not there. And as we start to heal from our grief and do the work, sometimes the people who were with us may not stay with us. And that's what I'm learning too. And that makes it even more difficult. It was, and I was going through these things with my therapist talking about this. But as you grow, or I can say in my case, as I started to heal, I started to observe my surroundings. Because as I was going through this grief, as I said in prior videos, I did not realize what the people I had around me were doing. In reality, what was happening is I noticed a pattern of a I don't care behavior. Because, in the beginning, people will give their condolences. Because, like I said, during the shutdown, I lost 10 people. And it was a domino effect, right? One right behind the other. And then after a while, people are like, oh, it's been X, Y, and Z, all this time. You should be over it. People, we don't get over it. We don't ever get over the grief, but we can get through it so that we feel better and we do better. You're talking about a huge loss here. Like in my case, I lost my mother, my dog, one of my good friends, and it just went on and on, another family member, and it just went on and on and on. And then people just don't know what to say, and they end up saying something really dumb. And then I just go into the shell because it's like, how dare you say something like that? If you don't know what to say, just give your condolences. And if that person needs you to be there just to listen, then do that. That is all part of being a friend or a family member or whatever. Because I learned that while I was going through all of this, and especially those who are pet lovers, and I lost my dog during that, and we were in the middle of the shutdown, and he was sick. Um, he had arthritis in his paw, and he missed a step as he was coming back in from the backyard, and he fell backwards. And before I can even catch him, and he messed up his nerve. He had nerve damage, so he couldn't. His hind legs were messed up, and it was just awful. And it was like 2 or 3 weeks of me running around trying to get him help, going to the hospital, doing all of this, and it was very stressful. On top of doing all of that, then getting phone calls about another family member who died, a friend, someone from the church, and it went on. It was overwhelming, really overwhelming. And I just said, God, this is too much. and then having people making dumb comments. And I'm like, are you serious right now? When someone tells you that you should be over something that meant everything to you, you never get over it, but you get through it, just by doing the work and going to therapy and doing things to heal yourself, because we never get over it. And these people are a huge part of our life, and especially also those who have lost spouses, and children. My condolences go out to you, because it's you never get over that. And people, if they're not compassionate enough towards you about what you're going through, to me it shows me that they don't care about me. And I kept dealing with that over and over and over again, and trying to explain that no, I can't help the grief, because back then when it was first happening, the grief was like, it was just hitting me left and right wherever I went out. After the shutdown and things started to lift and we were able to go out, anything I saw reminded me of my mother, my dog, one of my friends I lost. And I would just go into that grief mode, and I couldn't help it. And so people were saying, what's wrong with you? And I had to start setting boundaries, because my therapist said to me, and I would be crying a lot during our sessions. He said, Lisa, set boundaries. And, we discussed some ways for me to do that. And I started doing that. And people didn't like the boundaries I was setting. And so they were, overstepping. And I had to remind them again and again, until I just started cutting people off, blocking and deleting. Because if you don't care about my well-being, my mental health, my physical health, then you don't care about me. And I don't need to have that kind of situation in my life, because I was already going through enough. And it's shocked me in many ways, because the people who were there, who I thought were there, were not really friends at all, and family, and things that were said, some of the horrific things that were said, especially after my mom passed away, getting pictures to my phone, like I talked about before, which I think is the most um, horrific thing, and it's gruesome to me to have pictures of my deceased mom come to my phone, and they see it in a way, oh, to remember her. I don't. This is not okay, and it just sent me, made me so ill that I had to go to the hospital overnight after seeing those pictures. I don't think anyone should do that. I don't think it's a tradition. I think it's just morbid, and things like that. And I started talking up a little. This is not okay. And then going through grief, having disagreements with family members and all this, it was overwhelming. And I just had to cut people off for my mental and physical health. And I'm not telling anyone else to do that, but I am saying that if you start to feel overwhelmed and the wall feels like it's closing in on you, set boundaries. Set boundaries, because when you're going through grief, it takes a toll on your mental and physical health. And sometimes you just need to be alone to regroup and to get yourself together. And, what I encourage people to do is find a good therapist that you vibe with, who can help you get through the process, and also to enlist with bereavement groups, because there's going to be other people there at those groups who are going through what you're going through, and they may share some ways that they got through it, like I do here. I share how I get through it. I'm not a therapist of any sort, but I'm sharing my personal experiences and what I've gone through and how I'm overcoming things. And I still have work to do. The work never ends, keep working on myself. But now I'm at a place where I can tell you it gets better with time. You never get over it, but it gets better little by little with time. And now I can laugh. I can actually have a conversation and find, the good in something and laugh about it. And I wasn't able to laugh for a long time, people, because I was so into this grief that was hitting me left and right, and people thought there was something wrong with me. Yeah, there was grief. We don't have any control over that. as we, especially when it first hit us. And in my case, 10 people at one time, this is too much, and people wasn't understanding what I was dealing with and what I was going through. And they were just, oh, there's something wrong with her mentally. Yeah, if you're not taking care of yourself, it will be. And I started to realize that I needed to do therapy, and it's okay. We're in human form, we're human, we're not perfect, any of us. None of us are, including me. And I went and got the help and continue to do so. The good thing about this, people, is that I've been with my therapist for 2 years, 2.5 years. And for the first time, I shared something with him the other day. And it was so profound. He was crying because, it's like he would have never thought that I had to go through something like that. And I'm not going to share that here. But he started to understand me a little better, and why I'm choosing now about who I let in my life and who is not in my life, because everyone cannot be around me. And it doesn't matter what they think, because some people are not in a space where they want to heal. They just, they don't want to do the work. It's a lot of work, and it's not easy, and you got to do step by step, and a pain associated with it, and people don't want to deal with it, and I rather deal with it and get it out, because it's an outlet for the pain, and once you find that outlet for the pain, then you can get through this. And no, none of this is easy. And healing inner child wounds and things like that, and talking about things, I found it very difficult to talk about these things. But after 2 years, 2.5 years, I was able to share something that was really hurtful with my therapist, to the point that he was in tears, but he was glad I shared it, because then we can talk about it in some ways that I can heal this and move on. One of the things, people, that I want to tell you about is another way besides music that I heal is to speak out these things that happened to me without giving specific details, but just speaking about things that shook me to my very core. Because there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about what's in the dark, when it comes to light, then it's rendered powerless. So if I share specifics, no, if I share something without the specifics, is what I meant to say, um, it doesn't have a hold over me anymore. People, places, situations that were horrific. Once I speak those things out, it no longer has a hold over me. Because all my life I've been taught that what happens here, okay, stays here. But that is not the way, because then it stays within. There's no outlet for the pain. So the pain is trapped inside. And that means you're not healing, you're not growing, and then you're just, not growing. It means you're stagnated. So if you're stagnated, then you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're not healing. And we all need to heal from something. So especially when we're dealing with grief, you know, and I just needed to heal those things. A very difficult thing for me was to speak these things out. It was difficult, but it was necessary, because once I speak it out, I render it powerless. It has no hold over my life or me anymore. I can move forward, you know? And it's like situations with people who I had around me when I was grieving, really heavy into the grief. And I didn't know what they were doing to me, until the clouds started to lift as I did the work. And I started to realize, damn, he or she don't give a damn about me, because I started to notice their attitude and things that was happening. And then I started to set the boundaries. They didn't like the boundaries, so they started what's the word I'm looking for here with the boundaries. They started to ignore the boundaries, I'm going to say. And I would emphasize, hey, they were becoming intrusive. And no, you can't do that. I set boundaries. This is not okay. And if they did it a few more times, I just cut off, block, and delete. There's no reconciling. There's no opening the door to talk about anything because I've already gave that opportunity time and time again. And once they keep doing it, it shows the lack of respect for me and what I'm going through. So what I do is just cut it off. And I have been, in the beginning, I was hesitant about it, having these conversations again and again with my therapist about it. And he just kept saying, enforce these boundaries. And then I start to get mad, like, are you kidding me? You're being intrusive. And then I would just, as time went on, I would just cut off, block, and delete. And now I'm in a space where I will talk and communicate how I feel, which I wasn't doing before. And I feel better about it. It took a long time, but I'm starting to feel better with who I am today. And it made me sad that I had to cut off people and do things, but it was for my well-being because I'm important. And also, people, I had to learn self-love, to love me. And that's another thing that my therapist was working with me on. Because if you don't love you, then how can I give to anybody else? And not only that, I will let people do any and everything to me. And he was right, because that's what was happening. And then when I learned that I am worth it and started loving myself, not in love with myself, but loving me, then I'm not going to put up with any and everything because I'm worth more. And that's what I want you guys to understand. Self-love. Start loving on yourself. Music helps. Little baby steps, get out in nature. If you have a pet, take him or her out, get outside, get out in nature, listen to music, and these things that are going to make you feel better. Then you start to take care of you as you start to self-love on yourself. And then in time, you will learn to set these boundaries. And then you will learn how to, when people keep crossing those boundaries, what to do in those situations. So this is the message here today that I'm sharing with you guys, because there are people who are dealing with grief, and they may not be accustomed to dealing with it. And sometimes it'll just come on you at any given moment and you can't help it. And then people might go into depression, isolation, and, they may not know how to deal with it. And depression can lead to suicidal thoughts, and we don't want anyone in that energy. So please share this message. Subscribe to the channel and keep sharing as you've been doing. Thank you for that, because somebody somewhere, or a few somebodies, need to hear this message, and it's going to help them and motivate them. And I know it's already doing that, because I've been getting messages from people how much this channel is helping them. So thank you, and please continue to do that. Okay. And even when you're having bad days, just continue to do things in that bad day that you're having. Think about something good that you can do that make you feel better, and that's how I do it. Baby steps, one thing, one day at a time. Remember, it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but take those baby steps, call a therapist, Google one in your area, and find a bereavement group. And as you do these things, you're going to slowly start to feel better, because that's what I did. So please share this. Once again, I'm going to give you my email address. It's lisavaughn410@gmail.com. I want to know if everyone would like to attend a seminar in person or would like to have a seminar by Zoom. So please send me a message letting me know what you think and what you think of these videos. Thank you for being here again. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. Everyone, have a great day. Remember, put yourself first. And I will see you in a day or so. Bye for now.